the back, but also because he's going to move countries very soon. So every time he comes and shares a story, I'm like, yes, we got one more before he leaves. So I'm very excited. I hope you guys are also excited, and let's welcome to the stage Stephen.
Can you help me not forget my glass? I always leave it there every time.
I can put it there.
Thank you so much.
50 euro.
50 euro. It's a scam.
We don't need to forget in which country we live.
Exactly. Yeah, send me a ticket. Hi everybody. Hello. So I live in the center of the city, and I have a very entertaining view. Right outside of my window is the outer kerk, the old church. And I find myself usually every morning eating my granola bowl for breakfast, looking out of this window. And there is a small slot of sidewalk that I always end up focusing on. It's in between the koffieschenkerij and the end of the outer kerk. And it's just this sidewalk. I find that's where my gaze naturally goes to. And I observe people there. Anybody like people watching? Yes. I did not know. That was interesting. You can come over to my house. We can all people watch. And it's interesting to notice the habits of people. And I noticed that as I'm looking at people, people are also looking for something. Everyone's looking for something. There's a certain group of people who walk with their head down. They're usually dressed in a certain way, maybe baggier clothes, a little torn, a little dirty, and they're looking for these small leftover parts of something that was on fire, perhaps. And they look in corners, and they look behind the tree and by the dumpster. And they pick them up and they inspect it. And they move on. And there's another group of people, and they look at the buildings, and they stop and they take photos. I kind of stand like this in the window, hoping that maybe one day they zoom in and just see me there. There's another group of people, they're in love. And I think all they can see is each other. Like, they could be in any city, you know, the bikes are ringing their bells at them, the cars, taxis are honking. They don't hear, they don't see anything, they just see each other. There's another group of, well, not people, but animals. I find that the dogs, looking at, if you ever walk a dog, anybody walk a dog here, you start to notice different things in a city, like, okay, my dog's probably gonna stop and sniff and pee on this, and maybe on that pot and that plant and that tree. And so the owners stop patiently, and they end up in different spots than the other tourists. There are also the people who go around and collect bottles. So they go and they look inside the trash bins. They open them, sometimes angrily, I notice. They dig around, not concerned with my house or any other surroundings. They're the handhaving that go around, and they look for cars illegally parked, things like this. And I wonder, does anybody stop to look up? Maybe I've never had somebody look up to the window and wave. I don't know, maybe that would be weird, or scared too. You said you would?
Yeah.
Oh, you would? Okay. I've never seen you there, so I believe you. I don't know, everyone's looking for something. It was said that everyone is born looking for a face who's looking for them. And I don't know, maybe I'm too high up. Maybe I need to go lower. So one day I sat on my stoop, and I was there. It was a nice summer day. And this cat came, this beautiful orange cat came and sat by me. And believe it or not, no one said hi to me. No one looked at me. You know how many people said hi to the cat? Like 1,000, right? And there was literally, there was these girls like saying hi to the cat, and I was like, hello? And they looked at me like, you know, say hello. I was in the country of Georgia a few years ago. I was there with some friends. We were in a small town of Martiuli, and it was sort of a rustic town, kind of modern civilization hadn't fully gotten there yet, but there were some nice houses and they had fences around it. And my friends and I, we were about to have dinner. We were traveling through the country. We were staying at another friend's house, and they were making dinner, but it wasn't ready yet. There was this small Nepalese woman who was cooking. We said, how long for dinner? She said, 2 hours. I was like, okay. She was stirring the pot. I said, hey, I looked at my friend Vrundin and Danny, an Indian and a Chilean. I said, let's go for a walk. So an American, an Indian, and a Chilean, we go for a walk in a small Georgian town. And we're walking about, and there's stray dogs, and there's some chickens, and I hear, what, was that a dog? Was that a human? What? We keep walking, and on the top of a roof, behind a big green gated fence, there was a woman pacing back and forth, screaming her head off. She was screaming in Kartuli, and then she would switch over to Russian. Both languages, I have no idea what she was saying, but I know she was mad. And I stopped and I looked up because it was so bizarre. She was pacing back and forth, screaming down at everything that passed by. And now, since we were stopped there, she was looking at us, screaming at us. And Vrundin and Danny and I looked at each other, and we looked at her just kind of dumbfounded. And some of the local village people, they came to us and they said, no, don't talk. Crazy woman. And that kind of got me. I thought, no, she's not crazy. So I looked up, and what did I say? Hello! You're not crazy. What did she do? She started shouting at me. And so some people tried to pull me away. I said, no, stop. I said, hey, we would love to talk to you. And she just kept shouting. This went on for 5 minutes, and finally the locals, they stopped trying to persuade us to leave. Instead, they left, and now the street was empty, and it was just us. The lady was gone. I looked at my friends and said, maybe we should move on. All of a sudden, the big green gate, it opened, and I saw a hand come around. That wasn't meant to be funny. I don't know. And so I looked at my friends, Danny and I, and so wisdom came over us. And we're like, let's go on. So let's go in. So we go in, and there's a woman there, a different woman who was standing, not on the roof, and she closes the gate. And it was like a movie. She started speaking Russian to us. My Russian is very, very limited. I'm sorry. Привет, как дела? Dom, house. She started talking 100, I'll say 100 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour.
Hey, come on.
I said, whoa. Babushka, хорошо. And she got this smile. She said, come. In English, come. So we walked up this stairway. We went to this extravagant room with a chandelier and only one couch. It was very strange. All of a sudden, the old lady who was screaming at the rooftop and the lady who let us in were there. Thank God for Google Translate. We got it out. I'm going to cut this story short a little bit. Long story short, she explained to us through Google Translate. She said, our family has abandoned us. Our relatives have left us. They go to the cemetery and perform voodoo on us. We are sick. We are tired. We are haunted in our dreams. You know, this is all like a Google voice, like. You know what I mean? I love this guy Brunin, my Indian friend. He was there. And Danny the Chilean, he was there. And I also, in that moment, had the temptation to look at my friends and say, she's great. Something in me said stay. So we listened to her story and we asked her questions to Google Translate. And we cried with her. And she soon brought out tea and strawberries, very small ones. We ate them. And we listened. And we prayed. And we sang songs. And she cried. And we hugged. It was no longer a crazy shouting woman, but it was wonderfully nice grandma. They opened the scary green gate and locked it and let us out. And we went out on the street. So I wonder, if life were to ever happen to me in that way, and you were to come to the Walen, to Ouderzijds Voorburgval, and you were to look up and see a crazy man shouting at you, it's my hope and prayer that you wouldn't just move on, but maybe you would look up and ask me, are you okay?